Right now, you probably believe you're seeing the world exactly as it is. But what if that's not true at all? Imagine a profound secret hidden in plain sight, one that quietly shapes every moment of your existence. What if everything you've ever experienced, everything you call reality, is just a highly convincing illusion crafted by your own mind? New science isn't just hinting at this, it's providing unsettling evidence that your brain may not be showing you reality, it may be constructing it. And if that's the case, if every one of us is walking around with a built in reality generator, then it means something truly mind bending. No two people are living in the exact same world. Every brain is, in essence, an entire universe, subtly distinct from the next. Everything you see, hear, taste, touch, and feel is processed through the incredibly complex machinery of your brain before you ever become consciously aware of it. Think of it like this: your brain isn't a simple window to the world, it's a bustling command center receiving raw signals, then filtering, interpreting, and even predicting what those signals mean. It fills in missing information without ever asking your permission, sometimes even making educated guesses about things it hasn't directly perceived. This isn't just about making sense of chaos, it's an active, creative process, which means what you call reality isn't a direct broadcast from the world outside, but rather an interpretation. And here's where things get really interesting. Interpretations can differ far more than you might think. This remarkable ability of your brain to construct reality isn't a passive process, it's intensely active and predictive. Your brain is constantly generating hypotheses about what it expects to happen next, about what should be there, about what you're about to hear or see. It's like having a super fast, highly intuitive detective working overtime, always one step ahead. It's drawing on your entire life's history, every memory, every learned lesson, every emotional experience to inform these predictions. When those predictions are even slightly different between people, and they always are, their experience of the exact same moment can subtly diverge. You might both look at the same object, hear the same sound, or feel the same breeze, but the internal story your brain builds around it can be unique. It's the same world, yes, but two entirely different constructed realities. And most of the time, we never even notice these tiny personal universes diverging because our brains are so good at convincing us that our version is the only version. The truth is, your personal universe is not just built on universal biological processes. It's deeply shaped by your unique history. Consider your individual brain structure. While we all have brains, the specific wiring, the strength of neural connections, and the chemical balance vary from person to person. These individual differences aren't just genetic quirks. They're the result of every experience you've ever had, every skill you've learned, every emotion you've felt. Past experiences don't just inform your memory, they actively shape how your brain processes new information. If you grew up in a noisy city, your brain might filter out sounds that someone from a quiet rural area would find jarring. If you had a scary experience with a dog as a child, your brain might process the sight of a friendly dog with a different level of vigilance than someone who's always loved them. Personal expectations also play a massive role. Our expectations are powerful filters. If you expect to hear bad news, you might interpret ambiguous tones of voice differently. If you expect to find beauty, you might spot it in places others overlook. These expectations aren't just conscious thoughts, they are deeply ingrained neurological biases. This means that subtle differences in these predictions, driven by individual biology and life experiences, lead to truly divergent experiences. We're not talking about outright hallucinations, but rather a spectrum of subjective emphasis, filtering, and interpretation. Two people can be standing side by side, observing the same sunset. One might see a fleeting moment of beauty, inspiring awe and peace, while the other might see the end of a long day, triggering anxiety about the tasks still ahead. The light patterns hitting their retinas are identical, but their brains construct two distinctly different emotional and cognitive realities from that input. These divergences in constructed reality are often so subtle, so interwoven into the fabric of our moment to moment experience that we hardly ever notice them. We simply assume everyone else is seeing, feeling, and understanding the world exactly as we do. This concept of a constructed reality has profound implications, especially when we look at something as fundamental as memory. Think about a time you've discussed a shared experience with a friend or family member, only to find that their recollection differs significantly from yours. This isn't always because one person is lying or has a bad memory. More often than not, it's a living demonstration of how our brains actively reconstruct events rather than simply recording them. Studies in perception and cognitive psychology consistently show that two people can witness the same event and later remember it in starkly different ways. It's not a flaw in the system, it's how the system works. Your memory is not a video recording you can simply rewind and play back. It is, by its very nature, a reconstruction. Every time you recall an event, your brain doesn't pull up a pristine file. Instead, it reassembles bits and pieces, filling in gaps with logical assumptions, current knowledge, and even emotional states from the present moment. This process is inherently creative and therefore susceptible to variation. Imagine two witnesses to a minor car accident. One might focus on the color of one car because they just bought a similar model. The other might focus on the sound of the impact because they're sensitive to loud noises. When asked to recount the event later, their narratives will naturally diverge. Neither is intentionally fabricating. Their brains simply stored and then later reconstructed the event differently, emphasizing different details and filling in the blanks based on their unique internal models of the world. And with each act of recall, each reconstruction, your brain subtly reinforces and sometimes even slightly alters your personal version of reality, making it even more unique to you. This concept extends even further, right down to the very foundation of how we perceive the world through our senses. Most of us walk around with the intuitive belief that our eyes see the world, our ears hear sounds, and our skin feels sensations directly. But this, too, is an oversimplification. Your senses are not direct conduits to an objective reality. They are sophisticated data collectors that feed raw information to your brain for processing. Consider your eyes. They don't see fully formed objects, colors, or depth. Instead, they detect patterns of light and dark, specific wavelengths, and changes in intensity. It is your brain that takes these raw electrical signals and performs an astonishing feat of interpretation, turning light patterns into a vibrant landscape, a familiar face, or a deep, expansive sky. It constructs objects, assigns meaning, and creates the illusion of seamless three-dimensional space from what are essentially flat, two-dimensional inputs from your retinas. But these interpretations are not fixed. They rely heavily on prediction, context, and expectation. For instance, optical illusions work because they trick your brain's predictive models. What you see isn't what's actually there on the page, it's your brain's best guess at making sense of ambiguous data. Context plays a crucial role too. The same shade of gray can appear lighter or darker depending on the surrounding colors. A sound can be interpreted as a whispered warning or a gentle rustle based on the visual context. An expectation? If you're expecting to see a certain person in a crowded room, your brain becomes remarkably adept at spotting their features, often even when they're partially obscured. This isn't just heightened awareness, it's your brain actively prioritizing and shaping sensory input based on its internal models. Which means reality is not simply received, it is actively generated by your brain. It's a continuous, dynamic act of creation, moment by moment. So, what does all this mean? If every brain is actively generating its own unique version of reality, continuously predicting, interpreting, and reconstructing the world based on its individual history and internal models, then the question isn't, what is real? That question assumes a single objective reality that we all tap into equally. The more profound question becomes, how many versions of reality are actually happening right now, existing simultaneously in the minds of billions of people without us ever noticing? It's a thought that shatters our comfortable assumptions and opens up a universe of possibilities about how we perceive, how we interact, and how we might begin to truly understand one another. It implies that every interaction we have, every conversation, every shared moment is not an alignment of two objective viewpoints, but a complex, often beautiful, sometimes frustrating, dance between two distinct constructed universes. If this journey into the mind's hidden architecture has sparked your curiosity, there's a world of discovery waiting for you. Dive into our next exploration of science and reality.